First up, an update on the ongoing transport strike in the state of Tamil Nadu. There seems to be no relief for commuters there as the bus strike has entered day 6. Deadlock between the union workers and the state government continues as both the state government and the workers have refused to budge on their stand. Hearing both sides yesterday, the Madras High Court rapped the state government and the employees union for their inability to arrive at a consensus. The court also questioned the state government why the pensions and arrears of the government employees had not been paid yet. Well, it is day 6 as far as this transport strike is concerned. Yesterday, in fact, we saw the Madras High Court coming down heavily on both the sides, especially pulling up the state government also for not having paid the arrears for nearly 7 years. That's one of the long-standing demands of these workers. They say they have been demanding their arrears for the past several years, and the fact that that has not been paid heed to, they were left with no choice but to come out with this unannounced strike. They also, in fact, specified, the court also specified that none of the workers, striking workers, can be suspended without the High Court's nod. The Madras High Court, though, not taking any sides, but ultimately stating that the commuters are the ones who are suffering in the end. There are lakhs and thousands of commuters, remember, who are suffering due to this ongoing strike in the state of Tamil Nadu, which has crippled normal life. And to compensate for the lack of workers, the government has put out a lot of inexperienced drivers, contract drivers who are currently driving these buses, not having enough experience of driving buses. There are reports of accidents also coming in from all quarters of the state. But as far as the relief for commuters is concerned, there is no relief down south as this transport strike has entered day 6. Yesterday, after hearing both the sides, the Madras High Court eventually transferred the case to a special bench. What we are expecting today is the union workers to file a petition to this special bench sometime today, and that development, of course, we'll be closely looking at. But development so far there that the deadlock continues, the stalemate between both sides continue, leaving the commuters in a lurch. Pramod joining us live. Pramod, in the end, we saw the Madras High Court eventually transferring this case to a special bench yesterday. What in terms of development are we expecting today?
Well, after the Madras High Court's strong hand on Friday where it stated this kind of strike should not happen and it immediately constituted a ban. Yesterday we saw a different avatar where the Madras High Court almost sided with the transport union trade unions, asking the government why the arrears could not be paid. That was the biggest question of the Madras High Court, not about the pay hike. They asked why the 7,000 crores were not paid on time, because several cases have already been filed with the Madras High Court in the past years. Now, unable to comprehend all these cases in one time, the Madras High Court has asked to move all these cases to a special bench. Apparently, the previous cases are to be heard in a special bench on 17th, that is after Pongal. So, keeping the public's distress in their mind, the trade unions are expected today to file a special plea in the Madras High Court, asking the special bench to hear the case by tomorrow. So, this is a development right over here. But of course, the transport minister, on the other hand, he is not ready to talk to the trade unions. He directly wants the people to come back to work, and he says that the trade unions are giving false information and that the transport sector is ready to pay the hike, which is 2.44 and not 2.57. And he says the false information given by the trade unions is the reason the transport workers are protesting right now.
Unlike its earlier stand, Madras High Court also, of course, mentioning Pramod yesterday that none of these workers can be suspended without the High Court's nod, clearly indicating in a manner that they are siding with the union workers here.
Exactly, because on Friday we did not see anybody from the trade union workers to go ahead and give their kind of argument, their side of the argument to the court. So that's the reason Madras High Court on Friday, very upset with any kind of special essential services being disrupted, it went ahead and said banning the strike, and not just that, directing the government to take action against anybody who is striking after providing a show cause notice. But after hearing the trade unions kind of argument yesterday that went almost for 90 minutes, the Madras High Court has decided the other way right now, now and told the government that you cannot take any action against any striking workers without the consent of the court. So right now it's the government and the transport sector minister who is in the receiving end. Yet the transport sector minister has gone ahead. He has issued a circular to all the depots, and he has also stated that if the workers return back by today, no action will be taken against him. However, the transport minister is also claiming that certain these workers have decided to damage the buses, and certain workers have also stopped the bus on the on midway, and they ask the passengers to get down. They will be action will be taken against him. This claim is not accepted by the trade union workers, who are stating that it is only a way of maligning the workers, because they all took back the buses to the depot and only then they announced a strike.
But if we also speak about, what the Madras High Court observed yesterday, it also, came down heavily on both sides, the state government as well, the union workers, and stating that it's not the state government, it's not the transport minister who is suffering, it's ultimately the commuters who are suffering. The government, of course, assuring that nearly 71% of buses are now plying with the help of other workers, other government officers and workers. And we are seeing the aftermath of that, the repercussions there being that there are a clear number or rising number of accidents also taking place on road. Did the court also made any observation on that?
Well, more than the court, it was the trade union workers who also made a plea after their discussion which they had yesterday in Chennai. They warned the transport sector, stating that earlier when they were striking, the Tamil Nadu government also implied the same tactics where they brought in contract workers who does not know how to operate these buses. Most of them are have run out of the time, the buses, the vehicles itself. So they made a plea with the transport union minister, asking him not to bring in contract laborers, because last time in May 3 people died. Day before yesterday, 1 person in Chennai died, and yesterday also there were multiple reports of these contract laborers unable to drive the buses properly, because you need at least 2 to 3 years of experience to operate these buses, and it is not driving. It is not similar to driving a lorry. But the transport minister, for now, he states that he has no other choice, because he needs to take care of the maximum payload, that is 1.45 crores of people who are using these buses every day. And not just that, since the holidays are also in the coming closer, he has no other option. He has to use either contract laborers, or he has to bring in new people, recruit new people, which will cause more confusion and trouble in Chennai, as it occurred in 2011. So that this this deadlock is only progressing right now if and only if the court or the special bench intervenes and asks the government to talk with the trade unions again. This can come to an end.
But Pramod, if we speak about today, it's day 6 of the strike that has crippled the state of Tamil Nadu. Thousands of commuters, of course, stranded across the state. What's the status of the strike today? Which of the areas are most severely affected if we speak about Tamil Nadu?
Well, it's entire Tamil is Tamil Nadu is mostly affected, and this road transport corporation, the public one, SETC, and the TNSTCC. These are the two organizations you are handled by the Tamil Nadu government, public transport sector, and these are very essential, because you don't get special buses to all the locations in Tamil Nadu. Most of the people rely on government buses, especially in hill stations and other locations. Only Tamil Nadu government operates buses, because either it would be not a kind of efficient location for them to travel. So people who have who work every day have to use Tamil Nadu buses, and that way they are very much affected. Right now they are relying on contract laborers or buses, and maximum of 2 hours is spent in getting one bus, and on this bus it is completely overcrowded. That way it's serious trouble for people. And the other hand, we have students and college goers who also depend on Tamil Nadu buses, and special passes have been given to them, so they wait for these buses, and unfortunately they have to spend at least 2 hours a day. And at the beginning, that on Friday, it was very difficult. At least right now it is 1 hour, but still the buses are on the hands of daily wages and contract laborers, so that is also a pretty scary situation, because they are not aware of the routes. In Chennai itself, you have a lot of diversions. Every day, other day, we get new diversions. That way they should know the route also. So they claim that at least 1 month will be spent in learning the routes alone. That way everybody in Tamil Nadu who is using public transport is in distress.
Absolutely. Day 6 of that transport strike is still ongoing. The deadlock between both the sides continue. And as you mentioned, Pramod, it really is up to the special bench to intervene and put this deadlock to an end, to bring both the parties on the table and come up with the solution. We'll, of course, keep an eye on all those developments with you through the day, Pramod. Thanks for getting us those inputs. at the moment.